slow up. No, I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Welcome back, friends. I'm Rogue, and in today's RPG Spotlight review, we are going to be taking a look at Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. This game has been in early access for a very long time, but finally celebrated the full release on the 25th of October. Today we're going to be checking it out from the new player perspective to see what all Bannerlord has to offer. But before we dive in, I want to say thank you to all the new and returning subscribers. Thank you guys for being here. In Bannerlord, you take on the role of a commoner of no renown, whose quest begins when your parents are killed by bandits and your younger siblings have been taken captive. But destiny has its own plan. When starting a new game, you are first faced with the choice of what culture your hero is from. Each culture has different bonuses that make them unique to a playstyle and affects your character's background options further during character creation. Some of the cultural bonuses can be considered best in slot, but I'm not a fan of the meta and prefer fun. For me, I want to focus on the who I'm creating, not what stats and bonuses I can get. I really like the diversity of the cultures and what roleplay narrative I can create from the options provided. Azerai Trader, Batanian Ranger, Sturgian Jarl. I mean, my mind is a whirl with the possibilities of who I want my hero to become. I like it when a game takes their time to help a player become immersed in character creation, as opposed to the Choose Your Chad simulator. I settled on Batanian because I love the Ranger Rogue type heroes of Dungeons & Dragons, and the forest-dwelling people also appeal to my Robin Hood style of play. After selecting a culture, I get to design my character, and this is a pretty good hero builder. Skin tone, facial aesthetic, bone structure, hair, eyes, height, weight, tattoos, and scars. Although I do wish that there was an option to have more than one tattoo or scar, or mix and match, and beards galore. Although it's a paint-by-slider hero sculptor, similar to Dragon Age, Inquisition, or Dark Souls, I'm not disappointed with these types of character crafters. This is a nice mechanic that allows you to personalize your character to fit the role or aesthetic you are looking for in your hero. And hey, if you're not good at hero sculpting, there's always the randomize to rule them all button. For me, there is only one man worthy to be king, and he is a ranger from the north. From here, I was hit with the meat of my hero's starting skills. Bannerlord has you craft a background for your hero that is broken down into parts from who your parents were, your early childhood development, all the way to your feats and antics as an adult, and even how your character dealt with the starting plotline of the game's story. Each choice affects your attributes and offers focus points in the many different skills within Bannerlord. Both attributes and focus points seem to affect the speed and efficiency at which your hero not only gains experience with any given skill, but also their effectiveness with the chosen skill. This seems like a lot to drink in for the starting hero, but in essence also bears a simplicity to it. If you want to be Bowlord, stack control, and choose backgrounds that offer the archery skill. Again, I like this approach to a hero builder. I know right off the bangle what skills my hero is better at, and can focus on either shoring up a weakness as I play or double down to master a skill. All that's left is to name my hero and select a difficulty. After trimming out my hero, I'm able to adjust the difficulty of the game with either static difficulties or can customize each area of the game to suit my desired challenge. Although I'm not the biggest fan of watering down a game's challenge, and usually try to play the game with a developer's intended challenge in mind without dorking down the gameplay too much, I can appreciate the effort to appease both the challenge runners and the casual gamers. For me, I think I fall somewhere in the middle. I like a good challenge as the game progresses, but I'm not interested in a no-hit speedrun, so warrior difficulty for this nerd.
Brother, it's been 3 days now we've been tracking those bastards. I think we're getting close. We need to think about what happens when we catch them. How are we going to rescue our brother and sister? Are we up for a fight?
Upon entering the world, I arrive at the training grounds with my brother, who is voice acted, and that's RPG goodness points in my book. He informs me that I should brush up on my skills for the trials ahead, and I'm given the option to either run the tutorial gauntlet or skip leg day, and just move on with the game. I like it when a game allows you to bypass the intended training sessions for replayability's sake. Try starting a new playthrough on Divinity Original Sin only to change your mind an hour into the game on what class you want to play. Ugh. So, when a game developer says, yeah, let them skip that nerdness if they want, I'm all about it. But I'm new here, so I decide to feel out the tutorial to learn the combat mechanics and controls of the game. On-foot combat has a directional attack and blocking mechanic similar to For Honor or Age of Conan, albeit it's a little weird to get used to with a mouse and keyboard, but I'll manage. My attacks feel good and the hitboxes seem clean. Range combat seems pretty basic, but not in a bad way. Your crosshair or aiming reticle changes based on movement and your skill with the chosen weapon, which is fine. and mounted combat. This feels really cool, and I'm hoping that the given speed of my mount will affect my damage while wielding a melee weapon. Archery on horseback is a whole new animal, and requires more skill than firing from foot. But again, I'll adjust. Okay, I understand the basics, and I'm not displeased with the training grounds tutorial. It's pretty straightforward, and that isn't always a bad thing. I'm usually happier with a tutorial that feels like a training session, instead of some radical event going on in the background while I'm being told how to swing a dagger. Sometimes simple is better. After leaving the training grounds, I'm introduced to the world map and told how to navigate. Look around the map with WASD and click to travel to a location, or use the arrow keys to move my character. These serve their purpose and are well explained. I am told to travel to the nearby town of Tevea, and I'm actually able to walk around the village. This is nice, and I'm hoping that each village has its own look and feel. If so, this is a great immersion feature. Fingers crossed. My brother informs me that we should seek out the headman of the town and see if he knows anything about the raiders who have captured our younger siblings. While in town, I am able to locate quest givers by holding down the Alt key. This is a nice quality of life feature. We find the headman, Orthos, who is also voice acted. He offers a service to the town militia if I can afford them, and I am taught how to recruit troops and purchase food for my party. At the bottom right of my screen, while on the world map, stats of my current gold, influence, whatever this is for, my current hit points, number of troops, food, and party's morale are all easily displayed. These are all good features that don't require me to open up a separate window to view, and again, this is a good thing. After purchasing supplies and hiring the local muscle, I am able to use the town interface to visit the headman directly. Fantastic quality of life feature for those not wanting to walk around town every time they want to turn in a quest. He tells me of the bandits raiding the area and mentions they also are missing the local doctor, and asks that if I can save him, the town would greatly appreciate it. I agree because it furthers the main story, and I'm able to leave the town simply by holding down the tab key. Another good quality of life feature that stops me from having to ride to the village exit every time I want to leave. Back on the world map, I see a small group of bandits with the telltale gold exclamation mark above them. I have mentioned this before in other RPG Spotlight reviews. Developers, you can pick a new symbol. I promise you that we as RPG dorks don't mind, really. Anyway, I guess it's time for some real combat. Combating the raiders was a nice warm-up battle. Combat in Bannerlord has a realism to it that I really enjoy, and even though I was on horseback with superior troops, the bandits were still capable of dealing solid damage and posed a real threat. I like it when combat in a game is lethal and even a stray arrow can put your hero down for the count. For me, that adds layers of caution to any confrontation. It innovates the use of tactics such as terrain advantage and using the best equipment for the engagement. Very fun first fights. Also in open battle, I could shout orders to my troops using the F keys, changing their formation and attack. Although it's a lot to drink in, time seems to slow down when you are in this mode, giving you time to usher out new orders as you see fit. Very cool. After defeating all three parties of brigands, I rescue Tactius, the doctor from Tevea, and he informs me that the local bandit leader may know where my missing kin are located, and speaks of a relic that may also be in their possession. If I recover it, it's mine for the taking. Thanks, Tactius. The tutorial guides me to a nearby bandit hideout, where I am forced to proceed on foot. This is a pretty fun mechanic. I was able to attack the hideout with a party of 10 warriors, and the battle commands seem to be the same as when in open combat. I use this opportunity to get in some archery practice. When the last bandit falls, a cutscene plays, and I'm given the option to face off against Radagos in single combat or order my men to attack. Needless to say, my men sort Radagos and his goons out with ease.
My men have harvested dozens of little brats in this region. Quite good hunting grounds. Already sent most of them off to a slave market, I know though. Since your hunt for your kin is fruitless, how about you clear off and save your own lives? Either that, or I'll force you to lick up all the blood you've spilled here with your tongues. Or you and I could settle this one-on-one.
Afterwards, my brother and I chat about the plan. He plans to take Radagos and the men and look for a way to free our younger siblings from the slave market, and requests that I go out on my own to earn glory and coin to pay a ransom if needed. Here I am prompted to create a family name and design my house banner. The banner options are simple but serve their purpose. Personally, I would have enjoyed more customization option designs, but I'm happy with my banner and my family name. Leveling up in Bannerlord offers focus points at every new level, which are used to increase your character's learning rate in the chosen skill. Each skill can have up to a maximum of 5 focus points, and attribute points are awarded every 4 levels, which also increase your hero's learning limit and skill cap in all skills associated with the given attribute. Each skill also offers perk points at given benchmarks within each skill. These perks vary greatly depending on the skill, and offer 2 options at every benchmark. There is a lot of build variety when it comes to trimming out a hero, and reminds me of Skyrim in essence, that the way you play determines what skills will raise. It's also worth mentioning that every skill has a toggle in the upper right hand of the character panel that tells how to earn experience with the associated skill. Although it's a lot to drink in for the new player, it has a simplicity and depth to it that I can appreciate.
Stop right there. This is a robbery.
Once the tutorial is complete, you are left to your own devices to explore and discover your destiny within Calradia. I was immediately attacked by an overwhelming force of looters. This was due to my hero traveling alone. I was a little disappointed to learn that any loot you obtain during the tutorial vanishes and you have what your hero started with, but your gold goes back to 1,000, so I guess fair trade. During the looter attack, I was happy to learn that the speed of my horse kept my hero from being overwhelmed by the horde of looters, and armed with a bow turned the encounter into a fish in a barrel simulator. But in Bannerlord, arrows are limited. Or are they? I was able to retreat the battle on horseback, but was thrown immediately back into conflict with them. But my arrows had returned. Well, I'm not going to look the gift archer in the mouth, so I used this to my advantage and was able to kill the looters until my quiver was empty, then retreat, rinse, and repeat the process until I won the encounter. I'm not sure if this is an exploit or not, but to make myself feel better about the newfound archery cheat code, I simply pretended that Aragorn fled long enough to resupply his quiver and then continued his assault on the looter menace. We can call it Ranger tactics. With the looters dead, I rode to the city of Lycaron and noticed that they were having a tournament. This is noted by the golden helmet icon beside the city's name. I joined the tourney because the reward was a pair of vambraces and I was in desperate need of better gear, and working on my melee skills was something I wanted more practice with, and the tournament claimed that it was going to be a group melee. Upon joining, a tournament panel showed the different tiers of combat that would be held, and the reward for the victor. I was also excited to discover that I could bet on myself in every round that I participated in, and could watch or skip the rounds that I was not in. This is a very fun way to play Bannerlord, riding from city to city, becoming the world's greatest gladiator one tournament at a time. In my opinion, this is a great way to gain wealth, renown, and equipment for your hero, and some of the rewards sell for a considerable amount, like the tier 6 mounts for example. You also gain combat skill experience during tourneys, and they serve as a safe and easy way to become familiar with the game's combat systems, due to the fact that you are given different weapons depending on the city's culture, or if the match is a 1v1 duel or a group fight with a mix of enemies. I love this aspect of Bannerlord, from fighting barbarian jarls in 1v1 duels with great axes to a jousting match against Valandian knights. Tournaments are very fun, and I have to admit, I may have become a little addicted to running off to the next city to fight their heroes for wealth and glory. During my tournament binge, I decided to check out the controls for Bannerlord's combat, and was pleasantly surprised to learn that you can change how your character attacks, from camera-based attacks and blocks to movement-based, meaning that instead of attacking based on where I was looking, I would swing or block based on where I was moving. There was even an option to turn on an auto block that only required me to time a block rather than to move my character or camera in that given direction. Bravo, Bannerlord. I like that there are options, so that if someone is really struggling with the movement or camera directional combat, you can change it to better suit your desired playstyle. And hey, if you are really having issues, there's no shame in using the auto block to get more comfortable with the game's very lethal combat system. I decided to hire some soldiers so that I could better traverse the open world without fear of being overwhelmed by a sizable enemy faction, and decided to see what questing in Bannerlord was all about. I'm going to be honest here, the main story of Bannerlord is not its strongest feature. Riding around the world looking for 10 nobles felt like busy work, so instead, I chose to simply ride to Britannia and help out the locals in my hero's homeland, and if I saw a noble, I'd tackle that bridge when I got there. Regular quests in Bannerlord are noted by a blue exclamation mark. either in a city, a village, or wandering party. These quests vary extremely, from training soldiers for local militia, helping a landowner lead his cattle to graze, delivering prisoners to a quarry to work out their sentence as laborers, and helping a lord whose daughter had been kidnapped only to discover that she was instead a runaway with her one true love. This is a role player's playstyle. Well, it was for me anyway. Each village or city has a unique aesthetic based on culture and placement on the map, giving them life and immersion. I really enjoy a game that allows you to choose if you want to visit every town and explore while talking to the locals and taking quests, or simply using the town panel to speak to the quest giver directly and then head off to the objective. I can appreciate the effort in allowing a player to choose their own involvement, and in my humble opinion, this is a good way to build an RPG. Personally, I love the story aspect of gaming and love becoming immersed in the fantasy worlds of these types of games, visiting every town and city just to see what it looks like, talking to the locals who sometimes offer trade rumors or spoke of locals seeking heroes to help them with whatever tasks needed done, being able to enter the taverns and listen to the music, playing a game of chance with one of the regulars, or hiring a companion after learning their backstory and deciding if their virtues were worthy of joining my fellowship. Bannerlord is more than just a battle simulator in my eyes. It has a lot of good RPG aspects that can either be explored or skipped based on how you want to play the game, and that is a good thing. To advance my clan, I needed renown, coin, and a companion. Renown came pretty easy, as did coin. This was a byproduct of all the tournaments and questing, so I needed a companion. Finding a companion can be achieved by going to the tavern in any city and looking for a hero for hire. This is not the best way to tackle locating a companion. I discovered that I could open the game's encyclopedia by pressing the N key and search for heroes. It seems that only wanderers can join your party as a companion, so check that box. Why in the hell would I seek out dead people? Anyway, make sure you look for alive people ideally. I was even able to narrow my search by culture if I wanted. I decided that a warrior was all that I needed. Someone to lead my Theon archers and stand with them on the field. Mitch the Ragged filled that role, and although he may not be the best in-slot companion, I feel better having him around. After reaching clan rank 1, I could now sell my sword as a mercenary to the different lords of the land. But Radagos the bandit arrived in the very next city with a grim tale. My brother had been captured by Radagos' once partner, Galter. Radagos claimed that he had escaped due to one of the bandits feeling guilty about betraying him, and offers to meet me near their hideout. His only request is that he decide the fate of Galter. I agree and head to the bandit lair. Galter's hideout isn't much of a hideout, and his men are far from the fearsome lords that I have faced in the sands of the arena.
Nah, there's no more talking. Kill me or I'll kill you. That's how this ends.
But to Galter's credit, he does manage to land a strike, but that does not save him from the heir of Isildur. Radagos has his revenge, and now I'm left with deciding the fate of the man behind the death of my parents and capture of my 2 younger siblings. I can choose to set him free or execute him. I enjoy these types of moments. It offers a peek into the player's moral compass of justice. Has Radagos' actions in helping me save my kin made him worthy of freedom? Does he deserve a chance at redemption, or is his fate sealed? I chose mercy because I believe that the greatest of heroes are defined by their villains, and albeit Radagos is indeed a wicked man, would I be a hero of Calradia without him? And although he will never be welcome in my company if given the option to recruit him, I feel that he may yet have a part to play in this drama. If for good or ill, I guess I'll have to wait and see. And if he simply wanders off into the wild to never be seen again, I'm fine with that outcome as well. With my family reunited, my brother joins my company as a companion, but doesn't cost a companion slot, which is fantastic due to how powerful he is, and I'm able to spend his focus and attribute points to guide him in a direction that will serve my party, and boy does he have some points. Wow, your family member is by far the best companion for early game, and I would recommend saving him as soon as you can. Due to his many skills in making your group that much stronger, I decided to make him my company's quartermaster due to his high skill in steward, which offered many quality of life perks for my fellowship. Real quick, I want to talk about battlefield superiority and tactics. Using your troops and the terrain to your advantage can make or break a battle encounter. Simply by placing my archers on the high ground so that they have a clear view in this engagement absolutely destroyed the opposing force. Now I know they're only looters, literally the weakest enemy in the game, but practicing this early and using the many different battle formations and terrain could save your army in the future. Okay, let's move on. From here I went back to questing, winning tourneys, and exploring the world map. My scouting skill began to climb, and with it, I began to locate bandit hideouts dotting the map. These are a good source of renown and coin, but can be used to gain a little extra coin if you're near a village or a city. This was due to there usually being a quest related to clearing out the bandit camp. This allowed me to basically double my profit and gain a little more reputation with the locals. After sending all the bandits to Neverland, I decided I was going to explore the crafting system and see what it had to offer. Crafting in Bannerlord is limited to weaponry, but I was happy to learn that I was able to refine, smelt, and forge with all of my companions individually. There was also an option to fulfill orders to raise skill and earn some extra coin. I decided to set one companion as the dedicated smelter and the rest for discovery of new recipes via smithing and forging. I focused my efforts on two-handed swords, and after learning that I could purchase higher-end weaponry to smelt for precious ores, such as the daggers from the Imperial City, and learning the efficient coal smelter perk, crafting became a breeze. But I'm not a big fan of the smithing stamina gauge that only refills by waiting in town. So I can fight 10 battles back to back, but I can only burn so much wood? That seems dumb, but it is a minor inconvenience at most. As I churned out higher-tiered swords and smelted them down for recipe discovery, I noticed that the sell price of my wares was astronomically better than any other tactic I had done so far in Bannerlord. Although getting your smithing off the ground early can be difficult, once you have the process of smelting, refining, and selling some of your wares, the coin began to roll in almost to the point where making gold was no longer an issue. Furthermore, being able to use companions to speed up this process made it feel less like a grind. I even went as far as to hire a blacksmith companion to further aid in the development of my craft. All in all, the crafting system does offer the ability to make immense wealth once you get it off the ground, and also offers some of the deadliest weapons I've seen in the game so far. Well, I was wealthy, had a sizable force, and was armed with the best two-hander my blacksmith could forge. It was time to pursue the main story. Having met all the nobles during my questing and tournament binge, I was directed to speak with two different individuals, Istiana, an Imperial Loyalist, and Arzagas, an ex-Imperial Kingsguard. Both spoke of a legend concerning the banner of Calradios, and that no army could defeat a true son for as long as they held the dragon banner. I'm gonna be honest, the story arc here is pretty weak. Two agents that both know where the other piece of the banner is located. Spoilers, both are in bandit hideouts. But they will only share this information with you if you say that you will side with their cause, making you a liar one way or another. Collecting the other two pieces was a breeze, and I was now stuck with the dilemma of what do I do with this banner? Arzagas wished for the destruction of the Empire, while Istiana wanted to re-establish Imperial dominion, and personally, I don't feel any kind of way about either of their goals. Side with an Imperial faction offering them the banner, or a non-Imperial faction, or create my own kingdom. Well, this is an easy choice. The kingdom of men needed a rightful king. A just king. It was time to set aside the Ranger. Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord is more than just a battle simulator. This medieval strategy open-world RPG has a lot to unpack, and even though I believe I've only scratched the surface of this very fun and engaging game, what I have experienced so far has been a fantastic adventure. Taleworld's Entertainment has done a great job in my humble opinion. If you enjoy war games with a strong RPG element, questing, trading, crafting with systems for kingdom management, tournaments, bandit hideouts, and much more, then Bannerlord may be for you. Personally, I am really enjoying this game, and looking forward to checking out the mods that are available on PC, especially any pertaining to Lord of the Rings. Well, my friends, if you have made it this far, thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like to duel the algorithm, and consider subscribing for more nerdy stuff. And have a wonderful day. Goodbye.